After yesterday's series against Team Liquid, I was expecting Zealots to come out here and have a very solid performance against Tricked Esports, and so far they've done okay, but game number 2, we went into it, and Tricked Esports says, hey guys, remember, we're playing very well right now.
Game number 2 is like the 4th Indiana Jones movie, you just don't mention. It never happened.
Caldor's in funny mode today. Funny bone Caldor dropping all these jokes.
Aliens, really?
Hates puppies, aliens don't exist, and other jokes that he's been mentioning here. Anything else today, Caldor?
I don't hate puppies.
He had a bold joke too.
Yeah, I did.
He hates little puppies. It's a big difference.
I don't. I love dogs, by the way.
All right, going into our third battleground.
They
have to be knee-high.
Yeah.
Certain rules, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, BOE up here for game number 3, and that's scary if you're a Zealots fan, because Tricked Esports with BOE, they're pretty good here.
If a dog starts barking, and my first reaction...
the puppy.
and my first reaction is laughter, and it's not a real dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Have
not
you seen a German Shepherd?
I'm not trying to defend myself on small puppies. I'm just saying other people like them, and I respect that, you know?
I don't even know who you are anymore.
I know, man. I'm just a horrible
What was
person.
the map? Battlefield, right?
BOE. Hey, we hired you to be an analyst. Can you,
I'm sorry.
Can you analyze, please?
I'm going to be
Thank you.
professional now.
The floor is now yours, Caldor. For BOE, Tricked Esports is going to this battleground.
Yeah. And they might pick Rhaegar and Greymane because they love dogs as much as I do.
It is a strong possibility. Yes, single target DPS is oh so good on this battleground. Greymane, one of those heroes that we go into pretty often here.
All right, so. Shush. Could you please focus on the game,
Sorry,
Tim?
I'm thinking about my future puppy that is smaller than my kneecaps,
Okay.
and that'd be great.
That's what? That's just weird. So, Battlefield. Once again, we've been talking about the dog already a little bit, and in this case, we actually talk about Greymane. Here, he gets even a higher priority than on the other maps. It's a little bit similar, I would say, with what we see on Infernal Shrines in terms of priority, but for different reasons.
Sure.
It's all about just bringing the damage onto the Immortal, and right now, Zealots, they have to... Actually, I think they were fine. It's just really the draft and the early game destroyed them on the second map, and Trick didn't give them any wiggle room to make their way back into it. So if they just fall back to what they've shown on map number 1, they should be absolutely okay to at least force a difficult game out of Trick.
Yeah, also being a little bit closer together could be good too. There were many times where we saw Newbrook being a little bit too far forward and getting completely blown up, which takes away the possibility for the team to even have a fight or come back. So
I am shocked. It's a Genji ban.
No way!
No one saw that coming. What does it mean?
I think they think Genji is kind of strong.
Well, Makia, yeah.
That's got to be a possibility here. All right, so take out the Genji, but Caldor, do you like small birds? Because birds could come in here with Falstad. He's still pretty good on this battleground.
Not small. There's a dwarf on his back.
You are just so literal, it hurts sometimes. That was a good segue.
I'm German.
Oh my gosh.
What do you expect? I thought they told you.
I thought I've trained you, man. I thought I got you.
Hey, you have, by now, actually, you are more the meta guy than me.
I've got an edgelord, man.
Like, Murky, I hate Murky. Gazlo, what are you doing?
That's my morning. Every day I wake up. Uther is picked up. Zealots are going to be grabbing him for the first time in the series, right? Yeah, first time.
And Tricked is really just absolutely annoyed with any kind of Tassadar composition, apparently. This is the third time now that they banned Tassadar, simply shutting down the potential Illidan combos and also making it a bit harder to really rock that potential Lunara here. So overall, and for not only that, of course, with the Tassadar, especially against Poik, they are also just shutting down potential Tracer plays, which is even more important. We have seen that from Zealots just yesterday. And Tricked has basically just said, okay, for this series, we just don't want to deal with any Zealot Illidan plays. We don't want to deal with the Tracer. Let's ban out in every game the Tassadar and take it from there. And they have a good opening. They have a new Burak, which is fantastic, and Greymane. So we are going to see that Immortal pressure.
Yeah, Trick generally doesn't seem to enjoy any type of enablers. The Tassadars, the Abathurs, even to an Oriel to a degree. If you go through ban phases, they usually get rid of those heroes that can help auto-protectors be really more effective and also just kind of push your legs in like that Abby. So, looking over to Zealots, Uther is available. But speaking of Oriel, we could get her here. There's Malthael and there's Oriel, as we'll be having the Angel composition built up for the Zealots.
Yeah, Uther and Oriel is just... It's just so... Seriously, if you have Uther and Oriel on your team, it is for the opponent so annoying to burst through that.
Yep.
And Malthael in the later stage of the game with an Uther and an Oriel, he can destroy an entire team by himself. First of all, he has self-sustain already. Then he has 2 supports with high burst heals that can help him out when he's focused, since that's oftentimes the response. So he's fantastic in that spot. Anubarak is very likely going to try and target him with the web, which could lead into Uther picking Divine Shield over Divine Storm just to counter the web here.
We saw a lot of Malthael from Zealots yesterday when they faced off against Team Liquid. They really enjoyed this hero, so we'll see how Malthael will pan out for them.
This is not a troll ban, by the way. We've seen Cho'Gall played yesterday by the Zealots, and it was the exact same draft. Uther, Auriel, and Malthael. And with that combo, you can, with the Cho'Gall on this map, have absolute field day. So Zealots have already shown that they are completely comfortable playing with this. And despite there being a Greymane and a Nubarak already, I think this is actually a pretty smart ban by Tricked, given what Zealots has shown.
Zealots entering back with their own Amethyr ban, keeping away that double Greymane from being effective.
The thing is, if they haven't planned going into the Cho'Gall, then they're just sitting in voice right now laughing. Because basically it's just like, yeah, we have them so far that they're actually wasting bans against us with the Cho'Gall, so...
But is it a waste if you can still beat your teammates and keep them out of cheese? That's what Tricked Esports is thinking here, as they get Rhaegar and Li Ming, and they have immortal DPS out the wahoo.
So we have the two doggies in the game again, this time on the side of Tricked.
Mm-hmm.
And we are missing... Well, I guess Alex can play a Nubarak, but he could also still jump onto another more bruiser-heavy tank, which I would actually expect. The solo laner for him is normally what we see.
If you got Arthas here, like, their lineup would just be perfect for Tricked Esports. They would have every single comfortable hero they played in the past, and it would be great here for BOE. Let's see what else get here.
Arthas into the Malthael. I mean, he still has a few options for the top.
Yeah,
that
true.
You can use, but... All right, let's see. Zealots, first of all. What are they going to get? First of all, we need a frontliner. So we need a heavy tank, and we need a range damage dealer for Crosby.
For Crosby?
I mean...
He's going to be playing the Li Ming, right?
It could go for Li Ming. I guess he could go for... no, Li Ming is already... Sorry, I'm on the wrong team here right now.
Oh, okay, good. You're talking about...
Yeah, my bad. I was talking Lunara as the range damage, and then, let's see, we have the Arthas taken here. For a second, I thought Trick was on the left, and I was looking for the range damage dealer here, but Li Ming, of course, on the side of Trick is going to be played by Crosby. We have Lunara now for the Zealots, together with Malthael. Good pressure against Immortal. Great with the double support. Arthas with self-sustained by himself. Just needs to be careful with his positioning so he doesn't get taken out, because that is one of the problems that he sometimes have with him. But thanks to the double support and Auriel Uther, they should have an easy time keeping him alive if Trick really makes the decision with a Curse Bullet to go in and take him down.
Sonya will be the final pickup here for Tricked Esports, so they have a bit of a bruiser-heavy type of pickup for their teams. But Sonya can be great into double support if she can play around that Uther stun in particular, and Attainment Strike should be okay. Hit that route to Berserker and really get on top of that back line. And Lunara, having to put damage into Sonya, usually leaves Greymane on the side there to do whatever he would like, whether it be racing down the Immortal, or of course burning down a frontliner. So Tricked Esports has a pretty good lineup here for BOE. I don't mind what Zealots has. It's a little bit all in on this double support idea, and will take some time to break down their opponents, but both teams actually don't mind their drafts.
I like the Zealot draft a lot. I think it's always scary when you have the Malthael with the double support, if you can head into the late game. That's the only question that I have. How are the first Immortals going to look? Will they be able to take them? Because I think if there's, again, an early lead established by Tricked, then they can try and snowball that game. But in late game fights, I actually think that the Zealots have a really good chance of having a huge impact. They can poke with the Lunara the entire time, and Tricked at some point has to make that engage happen. And if you have Divine Shield and the Aegis, there's so much that you can just do to prolong the fight a little bit, poke, and then go in and take them down. So the main question for me is, how tilted are the Zealots after the last loss? Is that something where they can simply shrug it off and say, whatever?
Yeah.
Or are they actually affected by it?
Well, we'll see if they're invested in this game here as we go into game number 3, hoping to get a victory against Tricked Esports, who currently lead 2-0.
Game number 3, we have the lead on the side of Tricked Esports as the Zealots with Grand Paquet on Auriel go up against their opponent again. Mopsio on the front line with Arthas. We have Lunara played by Poik. And we see Zarmany on Malthael on the solo lane with Shed running the second support, running Uther.
On the right side in the red here on BOE, one of their best battlegrounds to play on. It's going to be Crosby on Li Ming, Alex Aproji on Sonya, Nape on Rhaegar, Make on Greymane, and Rimmer playing a Nubarak.
Yeah, Rimmer on the Anub here. So Alex taking over the solo lane again, going for Sonya. And yeah, I'm a little bit hyped for this because I really like the drafts around Malthael. I think a lot of the teams are teams are still, in my opinion, figuring Malthael out a bit. We see him a lot more now, especially on certain battlegrounds. But if Zealots can make it into the later stage of the game with an even footing, they have a good chance here. This, on the other hand, was a little bit unexpected. The dog getting a bit too eager, ending up on the wrong side of the wall, and I'm pretty sure that he's not too happy about what just happened there.
Yeah, that occasionally happens where you go to jump onto a turret and for some reason you just slide on through. Happens there for the Greymane, and it'll be a death, sadly, for them, and that allows Zealots to have an actually solid defense. They're going to rotate Lunara and Arthas to the top, but with Greymane dying, they were able to hang out in the bottom for a little bit longer.
I can just imagine the tilt with the Greymane Mucket just all of a sudden ending up over there. And for Zealots, this is exactly the start that they needed. That probably created a little bit of laughter. So right now, they are, I would hope, in a good mood for this third game, because they definitely need a win if they want to have a chance to make a reverse sweep happen there. Tricked in the 2-0 lead, and all the fighting up at the top with Maka again being low. Is there the heal? Yeah, they have enough. Knappe able to keep him alive.
That's a play there, but Maka jumping over the wall, getting away from the fight, getting out of Arthas' range there from that Frozen Tempest. And it will survive, but Tricked Esports hasn't got the top 4-man rotation they've been wanting the entire time. They wanted to break down some turrets and push in their opponent pretty heavily, especially with double support being up and Lunara. So early game not paying off for Tricked Esports as much as they would like.
Yeah, Zealots in the meantime, with Zarmany having a 2-1 record on Malthael, are in a spot where for them the late game would really be absolutely fantastic. So they would absolutely love it. Zarmany needs to be careful down here. He's moving away and shouldn't really have a rough time surviving. Does actually get away, and Rega is taken out. So for Zealots, the stars are lining up perfectly here. Double kill in the early game, a great start into the first Immortal fight. So things are looking definitely decent for them. But the death timers, of course, are still very low. So we are going to see Rega join the fight in a few seconds.
Still allows them to start the fight, and man, Zealots are opening up pretty well here. They get another kill as Li Ming gets hit against the wall.
Yeah, Grand Paquette also with just absolutely fantastic detainment strikes that he shows here. This was the third one that led to a kill. Well, to be fair, he detainment strike Greymane when he went over the wall, but I think that was not the crucial point of the first death.
No, it didn't.
I think
the reason why.
There were other factors involved, let's put it like that. It was still a good detainment strike.
Zealots in the lead here, comparing what we saw in game number 2 going to game number 3. They have a nice halftime show already here, and they're working on Rimmer on the side. Poik just standing right next to Nubrak and applying damage for free, while Knappe is getting blocked by his own teammate. Tricked Esports seems to be losing their rhythm here.
Yeah, and also think about the level 13 talent. If Lunara decides to go into an unfair advantage, there's so many slows that we are seeing for Zealots. So that might be a great talent for them to pick up here. Mopsy, on the other hand, is all of a sudden low, and even with the double support, they might not be able to keep him alive here. They keep him alive for a long, long time, but in the end, he still dies. But they can poke away easily against the Immortal, but Grand Paquette with a mistake. Moves straight into the stun. That was not needed. Chat is also going to die here. And all of a sudden, Tricked Esports back to business with 3 kills against 3.
A lot of mistakes here from both of our teams. Tricked Esports will set up for the defense on the 4 side here, get Make and Alex Aproji back on top of the Immortal, so they have Greymane and Sonya damage to work it in. Poik steps forward, he will get hit by Rimmer, but it's all about delaying for Tricked as they want to make sure they can win this race. And it's getting close, but it seems like Greymane and Sonya might be able to edge it out.
Yes, and they do. Oh, that must be frustrating now. Knappe is dying, so that's good for Zealots, but they are definitely not happy about this. They had such a massive lead, and if not for so many small mistakes, they would have taken this Immortal easily. But they are still getting their kills, and that's big, because now they have a super easy defense against the Immortals, so they're not going to lose out on too much. And as we said before, for them, the late game is going to be quite strong.
Poik is so good on auto attackers, man. He just knows how to work it in and make sure to get as much damage as possible without getting a response back from your opponents. Poik helping getting those kills there, especially on that Nubrak. Immortal will be defended, but Tricked Esports should be able to take a breath here, reset, and keep that experience like they have now. Even with all the kills that are going to the opponents, they're still in a good spot.
But this is really one of those moments that can come back to bite you, because Zealots lost the Immortal and they lost now out on experience. Tricked played very well around it, even around the deaths that they suffered at the hands of the Zealots here after the Immortal was taken. So they are ahead in experience and they are ahead in structures. And this first Immortal could really be the deciding factor in this game. Zealots have still a good chance, and they will have a strong late game, but this is for them very annoying considering how far ahead they were.
Well, I do like that they're keeping up the aggression, looking to force a fight. However, Mafio might have been caught out. He is actually Firebuck on the right side. Everyone from Tricked Esports stands in the Frozen Tempest. They know they have a kill set at Poik, taking a big orb to the face.
Yeah, and is still healed by the double supports here, so that works. Also, Malthael is still top. Sonya is just now moving over, but if he hurries with a wave, he should be able to deny at least some of the experience. But it looks like Sonya is arriving just in time for this. Level 7 is now being picked up by Zealots. The last fight happened with a talent advantage for Tricked. But now with a 7, the cooldown reduction for Oriel's heal is in. We have also the Splintered Spear, so big spikes here for most of the heroes that we see on the side of the Zealots, even with the Touch of Death for Malthael. So he can play around the Ancestral once that we are seeing Tricked Esports hitting 10.
Yep, should be helpful here for that 7. Zealot's going to be able to deal with the multiple melees that are on the side of Tricked Esports. Sonya, Rhaegar, and Nubrak, and occasionally the Grey main. At the moment, though, Tricked Esports still ahead here by a full level. They're also working on grabbing their mercs on the right side, while Zealots does the same on the mirror side of the map. So the bottom lane and top lane pushed in, but we can have Tricked Esports afford to peel somebody off. They have 3 great solo clears with that Rhaegar, Greymane, and Sonya.
Yeah, they are in a great spot here now with the push up at the top, because with the walls taken out, they find themselves just pushing straight for the forts themselves, and that's where they, especially the camp, of course, is going to get value. Sonya is just up at the top and pushes it in even harder, so someone needs to rotate over and deal with it. And in the meantime, Trick can focus on the Immortal.
That they do here as they take a nice little lead, get the halftime show first. Already running straight to their opponent's Immortal, continuing to bite in. Mafio hoping to distract them from the fight as he dives forward and engages in. Now remember, the Merc camp is still in the top lane. It's still pushing that fort.
Yeah, they are willing to sacrifice the fort if they can just go for the Immortal and also chase the remainder of Tricked off. The problem for them is the experience. They can't really afford the level 10 with the Immortal push. If that happens, it would gain way too much value for Tricked, so Zealots are forced into a fight here. At least they feel that way. Malthael is on the Immortal. In the meantime, they are fighting the 4 versus 5 mobs, who needs to be careful that he doesn't go in too deep, and Malthael is now joining since he realizes the team fight is about to break out.
Mafio might be too low, though. He's already taking damage here, and the double healers cannot keep him alive. Arthas will fall, and Tricked Esports starts to walk forward. Zarmany still low on health.
Yeah, Zarmany is low, but this is also just going to result in another Immortal for Tricked. And this is starting to become a problem. And again, it comes down to the first Immortal. You have 3 kills against 0, a lead in experience. You have the opponent's Immortal already down to maybe 30%, 40% health. And then, not only do they lose Arthas, but without any reason, Grand Paquette walks into a stun, gets picked off afterwards. They lose also Shad. So that was the main problem here. And Tricked identified that and exploits it perfectly.
Mackay jump over the wall again, but this time he'll have the assist from his teammates as Rimmer drops down the cocoon. Are they going to go for the full engage here? Big knockback into an Impale, into a Curse Bullet, and Arthas has been destroyed. Zealots still don't have level 10.
That's what they were afraid of. This is exactly why they were trying to force the fight and the issue, because they knew if the Immortal pushes with the level 10 on the side of Trick, they are in trouble. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. The keep is forfeit. You can't move in there. You already lost Arthas. You still have to deal with all the heroics on the other side, so they are just moving in. And that Immortal still has a shield.
Still has a shield, and Ancestral comes out from Alex Sabrogi, and they may make the play here to continue moving in. Cocoon will be up in 20 seconds, but Mackay on the side working some auto attacks. Is Tricked Esports gonna get the win here?
Well, they could if Mopsio falls now. He's moving away, but he dies, and that's the tank gone. The Immortal is still taking the core down, and we have Maka on Greymane. That alone should be enough. Jumping in, dropping into 30%. Tricked Esports wants the 3-0, and they get it. Defeating the Zealots in just a few minutes, and I couldn't see how many because we saw the victory sign soon.
Lots of nice kills here from Tricked Esports.
Salty colors.
Poor Mopsio having a hard
9
time
minutes
there.
and 7 seconds. There we go.
Wow, under 10 minutes here for Tricked Esports on their favorite battleground, and they will get the 3-0 over their opponent. So that does mean officially, it looks like the Zealots have been wiped out of Western Clash.
Yes.
Competition no matter what. So
Zealots out. Zealots
no
are not in the run anymore. But again, we said it after the draft. You need to reach the late game on even footing with your opponent if you're running that draft. It is an incredible strong draft, and they were even ahead. It honestly just comes down to that first Immortal that they lost. If they don't lose the Immortal, their chances of winning the game are incredibly high. And even as they lost Mopsio, if they just don't walk into the stun, which was easily dodgeable for Grandpa, I can at that point only assume that his screen was somewhere else, that he was looking towards the rest of his team and trying to see if he needs to help out somewhere. If he doesn't die and Shed doesn't fall, if they only lose one hero, they can still defend their own Immortal, take a stand there in a 4 versus 5 with the Immortal helping out, and then wait for Mopsy to come back. Death timers are low, then you go back in the fight, and you still have a chance of winning the Immortal. But once it was lost, Trick played it perfectly. They just opened the walls, they made sure that they got value, the camp alone pushed the fort down, they got the 10, they got the second Immortal, and that was game.
Yeah, I mean, a couple mistakes here from Zealots, but Tricked Esports, they are a coordinated team, then if you make those mistakes, they will punish you, and that happened in every single game. The first game, Murden getting killed. That set up 2 keeps into them eventually winning the game. In game number 2, they got a couple of kills in the early game, and they just ran with Infernal Shrines. And here in game number 3, even though they were behind, that one Immortal just right in there. Punishing is one of the best things you can do if you are a coordinated team at getting yourself some victories in Tricked Esport. Put that on full display today.
And just to talk about that coordination again, we actually have that last core push set up so that we can take another closer look at it, just to show you guys how strong that actually was. So let's jump in and take a look. We have, this is the cocoon, because Mako went over the wall again. And let's just pause it here for a second. So the first thing that happens, they're opening up the wall here. So they're making sure that they are opening the wall in that sense, because they need to make sure that they are saving Mako. That was the first step. But the cocoon is already here, and they have their level 10s. That's the important part. On the minimap down here, you can even see that Lunara is all the way up at the top, so she can't even help out. So what's happening is they open the wall up, and once the cocoon is over, everybody is just immediately jumping onto the target with a cursed bullet. And once that happens, we're going to see the kill come in against Arthas. He has no escape tools. There's nothing that can keep him alive. It's even overkill, and they just move back from here and wait for the Immortal. That's all that they needed to do, really. So Mopsio, a little bit too far out, gets cocooned over the wall, gets a bit greedy as he sees that Greymane is over the wall again, but it just sets up a kill for Tricked Esports with the Immortal. Then they burst the wall down. The problem, of course, in this point for the opponent, for Zealots, is that they are in a 4 versus 5 without level 10 abilities, and they are just running. Arthas comes back. Really low death timer since they are only on level 9. But at this point, we just see everyone moving in, and we're having Mopsio once again focused, and there is just way too much pressure. And that's the beginning of the end right there.
Yeah, it's one of the important things, too, to also realize here with that Immortal pushing forward, how the tanks, realizing that they had 10 over their opponents, step forward so Lunara couldn't do any damage to that Immortal and make it less strength or less robust than it already was. So little things like that can really make sure that you can push the envelope and go for those victories. Had that Immortal lost a good 1k health before we even got to that core, that could have been the difference between Zealots actually getting a victory, maybe getting some kills, and stopping that core push from happening. Now, let's go ahead and get set up here. Looks like we have members ready to go as Tricked Esports gets another victory today. Hey, man, how is it going? And welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. It's going great. Couldn't be happier.
I mean, I gotta ask you guys, you are in a spot where Western Clash is a very real possibility, and what is the reality here for Tricked Esports? Do you guys want to go to that tournament, and do you think you can do it?
Please say no now, just to troll him.
No, I don't want to go.
No, I mean, we really want to go, obviously. But we still have Dignitas left, and it's going to be a very tough game.
Do you think you guys deserve to go? Like, honestly, that's what I want to get the real root of the problem here for.
I mean, I kind of agree with what Alex said yesterday. I do not think... Like, it doesn't feel like we're a top 3 team. But, I mean, we're playing good right now, I think, and we just need to focus up more in scrims, and I think then we should deserve to go.
Awesome. Very cool. Over to Kaldor.
Well, first of all, congratulations to the victory. It was pretty impressive. You guys were struggling a bit on Curse, but then Infernal Shrines, what happened there? Talk a little bit about that game. You guys seem to have a lot of fun on that map.
I mean, we got kind of our dream draft. We got exactly what we wanted, and like Crosby has made these small emojis, so everyone has one hero, and everyone got like their hero except for me, I guess. But
what did you want?
It was perfect. I want Rhaegar.
You wanted a dog? Okay. Well, you punished him. I think he had 9 deaths at the end of the game, so he's not going to pick it away from you anymore, I suppose. How do you guys are now preparing for Dignitas? What's the strategy? What's your main scrim partner for that?
I think we're screaming Fnatic the most going into the Dignitas game, and I definitely think they can help us prepare for the game.
From all the games that you've seen from Dignitas, how would you rate their chances? You think they're beatable? They seem to be at least more vulnerable than they were in Phase 1.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think we've got a chance of beating them. It depends. I think it depends more on them than on us. I think if they prepare for the game, it's going to be super tough for us.
All right, thank you very much.
But I definitely think we can do it.
Good luck with it.
Well,
Thank
Nape,
you.
we look forward to your match next week, obviously. So we're going to go ahead and let you go. That way you guys can get home, start practicing, start preparing, and bring us the epic match next week. But before I let you go, the floor is yours for shoutouts.
I mean, a huge shout out to Tricked Esport. A great organization. A big shout out to all of you guys, and a big shout out to everyone in Twitch chat writing Get Tricked.
Get Tricked. Go ahead and drop it there. Congratulations to Nape and, of course, the rest of the team of Tricked Esports as they get another victory today. And yeah, I just wanted to hear from them. Do they think they deserve to go? Because obviously they've been very happy with how their results are coming here, and it's getting to a point where they seriously could be a contender that would be going and representing Europe. And I want them to believe themselves before going there. And it's good to hear that they think, you know what, we are a good team here and we might deserve to go.
It's actually kind of funny how the dynamic works. Every time they get too hyped, Alex brings them down.
Yeah.
Every time Alex is too negative, they push him up a little bit. So it's pretty cool here. And also Zealots. First map was very impressive, but then later they just fell off a little bit. I think what it comes down a lot is also their front line. I think Mopsio has shown a lot of improvement now on his ETC, but every time he plays on a hero that has no escape, he has positioning problems, or he oftentimes finds himself a bit too eager to get a kill or to get a lockdown, and then they're a bit in trouble. I think it's definitely something they can work on, and they showed it against Team Liquid.
Yeah.
So despite the fact they lost today without winning a map, I think with a bit more coordination and practice, because you could actually see that Trick targeted him with the bans. So if they can just get a little bit more of coordination in there and improve with that shot calling, I think they're going to get way, way stronger than what we're already experiencing here.
Yeah, a lot of that comes down to self-improvement, but also maybe the team working together to come up with compositions that he can be more effective on. I mean, yesterday we saw the Cassia comp where his role was to actually sit down and anchor and control the fight, and he did phenomenal in that situation. So we hope to see more from Opsio. They're doing great. Zealots continue to get better as a team, but today Tricked Esports was the better team as they get the victory. We'll be right back after this commercial break with series number 2 for the day.